Dang! Hey trackies, welcome back to another video. We are here, the USA Track and Field Championships. Well, I'm not necessarily on the ground, clearly, I'm at home, right? But yeah, the date has arrived, and we're going to be talking about the sprints, the men's and the women's 100 meters, because it went down. And it's interesting because typically, especially when I'm looking at heats, I don't really have much expectations, right? I'm just looking to see how athletes navigate, how much they are able to manage, each round, especially the first round. But also, sometimes you can't really tell who are the athletes to look out for, right? Outside of, the main athletes that you're looking, at to progress, right? You don't really get much out of the athletes in the heat. So you usually have to wait until, semifinals slash finals to really see, well, not finals, because clearly, that's when the race is done, but semifinals to really see, some type of separation. So going in, my only thought was round management. I want to see how these athletes manage the rounds. That was my only thought, because y'all know that Americans are notorious for, not being able to manage rounds. It's a thing. Well, at least it was a thing. It looks like Jamaicans kind of clued them in a bit, and they've stopped doing it in recent times. But, that was my thing. I wanted to see how these athletes manage the rounds. The number one priority and track is, yeah, we are going to dive into it because we saw some thrilling action. And I definitely think that even though I was thinking there's not going to be much separation in terms of the performances, yeah, man, we can't tell how things are going to go. You literally can't tell how things are going to go from round one, and I'm excited. So let's dive into the men, right? So in Heat 1, we had one of the athletes I'm looking out for, Trayvon Bromell, and also, the collegiate athlete, T. Mars McCullum. I knew his name was T. Mars McCullum and not McCullum T. Mars. I guess they wrote his name wrong, on World Athletics. Anyway, right? That being said, track is taking the win was T. Mars McCullum, and he ran a 10.01 seconds. Trayvon Bromell 10.044 second. PJ Austin third, 10.17 seconds. Now a whole, 7 athletes qualified out of this particular heat. Now, I do think that Trayvon Bromell just did enough to qualify, right? So perfect execution from him. Now, this is when I talk about the separation between professionals and also, athletes that are collegiate, because you see from round one where, T. Mars McCullum has to be going gun-ho, hard as possible, right? And yeah, he did win, but he definitely looked like he was going full tilt. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the semifinals and also the finals if he does make it, through. But yeah, I do have him making it through to the finals, just to note. But I do think that when it comes to round management, though Trayvon Bromell finished behind, at the end of the day, I think that he will be able to finish ahead of T. Mars McCullum, because one was, doing just enough and the other one was going full tilt, right? So that's my thought process of the first heat. Let's jump into the second one with Kenny Benerick. He was in this one with a couple of high schoolers, right? And interestingly, right, he was first and he ran a 9.95 seconds, really solidifying his favorite tag. Of course, I was concerned. I talk about my concern heading into this, championships, not seeing him, hearing that he pulled out, of a couple meetings because of, a hamstring issue, but seems as though he's good. He ran that race. He was easy. He was looking around, making sure that, he wasn't doing too much just to cover the field. And yeah, 9.95. He's definitely still the favorite in my opinion. I'm excited to see what he'll be able to do as he gets into the finals for this men's 100 meters. Interesting though, second place was Maurice Gleaton, right? And this is the young athlete. He's a high schooler, but some of y'all may remember that there was this, big thing going on between Christian Coleman and a young man. Well, this is the young man, 18 years old, ran 10.10. But the difference between him running that 10.10 and let's say a T. Mars McCullum running that 10.01 was that T. Mars McCullum looked like he was full tilt. Maurice Gleaton didn't look like he was full tilt. So I was like, this high schooler looks quite impressive. So I'm interested to see how he progresses, again, what he will do in the semifinal, if he will make it into the finals. Plus also track is when I talk about round management, whatever his coach is doing with him has definitely taught him how to navigate rounds as well, because this was really good. Looks like a seasoned professional out there. If you didn't know he was a high schooler, he didn't appear to be a high schooler, right? Kyrie King was third. He ran a 10.14. Some more young dudes, Christian Miller 10.16, Olympics. So yeah, really, good heat two, showing up, a few of the youngsters there. But yeah, Kenny Benerick, hands down, looks awesome, looks the favorite, right? Now, coming up in heat three was Noah Lyles. He took it 10.05 seconds. In second place, Ronnie Baker was run at 10.07, and Jordan Anthony, the collegiate, NCAA champion, ran at 10.14. And as well as an additional three athletes to qualify out of this race. But who we're looking at, Noah Lyles going in, as I said, for me, it doesn't matter what Noah Lyles does because, he's already, going to the World Championship. So he just has to turn up and execute good races. But I think it does matter if some of these athletes that have been running good all season and Noah Lyles, who's just coming off an injury, comes and walks them. So as far as I'm concerned, this 10.05 from Noah Lyles looked really good. And yeah, for me, it's solidly putting him into actual second place in my mind. Like behind Kenny Bednarik, I'm looking at how he executed. And of course, I'm also thinking about how athletes, typically run, their consistency. And yeah, he's giving me possibly second because Trayvon Bromell is not the most consistent athlete, though he has run fast, not necessarily the most consistent. And sometimes track it's not the fast times that win, but who executes, the best on the day. And Noah Lyles has that down pat. So, he's, creeping up there when it comes to, where he may place in this 100 meters in my mind. And for me, that's not a good thing for the other men, right? Because if he's able to come in after not running for the whole season and beat you, then you have no chance against him at the World Championships. That's just my view. When it comes to the Americans, that is. We're not talking about, the Jamaicans, just talking about the Americans. Ronnie Baker ran a really good race as well. He was in lane 1. 10.07 qualified behind Noah Lyles. Jordan Anthony as well, really comfortable qualification as well from him. So all of these three athletes I thought qualified comfortably. So it's going to be interesting to see again the semifinals and the finals. But yeah, these were the three standout athletes for me, in this particular heat. Now jumping on over to the fourth heat, we had Courtney Lindsay. He took the win, 10.05. Christian Coleman was second, 10.08, and Brandon Hicklin was third, 10.14. I believe these are the athletes that you're keeping your eyes on as well, for potentially making it to the finals. Courtney Lindsay, if Noah Lyles isn't second, it will be Courtney Lindsay. Courtney Lindsay is giving me, he's ready to challenge for one of those top three positions as well, which kind of pushes Trayvon Bromell down a bit. Still in qualification if we're talking about World Championships now because, they take 4, so... let's see how it goes. But Courtney Lindsay, outside of Kenny Bednarik and Noah Lyles, looks the next best in my opinion, right? And the reason why I'm not saying he looks absolutely better than Noah Lyles is because winning is also a mindset as well. And Noah Lyles knows how to turn up and perform, when everything is on the line. And though nothing is on the line for him, that being said, Courtney Lindsay for me, Tracky is putting himself, in, third position based on what I saw from the heats. But you never really know. As I said, sometimes you have to wait until the semifinal to see real separation between the athletes. But I thought it was really strong qualification for Courtney Lindsay. Christian Coleman, let's see what happens. Not necessarily impressed. He didn't get the best start here, which is quite interesting given the fact that he usually gets the best start. So I'm like, okay, if you're no longer getting the best start and your top end is still poor, where does this, make you factor at the end of the day, right? So that's a little concerning. Brandon Hicklin, horrible start, you know what I mean? He has to work on that, but let's see how these athletes progress. So going into the semifinals, you keep your eyes on Courtney Lindsay, Christian Coleman, Brandon Hicklin, Noah Lyles, Ronnie Baker, Jordan Anthony, Kenny Bednarik, Maurice Gleaton, T. Mars McCullum, Trayvon Bromell. I think those are the athletes that really stood out, in my mind based on what I saw in the heats. But yeah, that's the men's 100 meters rounds. Let's jump into the women because the women, oh my gosh. So heat 1, let's start there. Let's start with heat 1 in the women's 100 meters where we saw the defending world champion Sha'Carri Richardson come up there. And it's interesting because somebody said in the comment section to me when I said Sha'Carri needs races that, why am I saying Sha'Carri needs races? Am I saying Sharika needs races? And I'm saying that's why I'm saying Sha'Carri needs races, because if you watch the heat, then yeah, she needs races. And I stand 10 toes deep and even 10 fingers down on me saying she needs races, right? So she ended up being second second in the heat, where she ran at 11.07 seconds. Taking the win, though, was Kayla White, running a 10.89 seconds. Now, as I said in the beginning of the video, me going into watching these championships and these rounds, the first round, second round, I'm all about how you can manage the rounds to make sure that when you get to the finals you run your best race, right? So that's what I was looking at. For Kayla White, she looked like she was going full tilt, right? So new personal best for her. Fantastic run, but this is the first run. I thought it was too much. You know what I mean? Especially given how much she gapped the field as well. I was like, okay, girl, you're safe. You know what I mean? She could have shut it down a little bit, but some people may say when you're feeling good, you don't necessarily want to slow down because you want to get that fast, performance in. So maybe, it won't affect her by the time she gets to semifinals, finals. But in my opinion, I thought it was a little too much, but 1089 still a great run, right? Let's see what she does, as she progresses. Sha'Carri Richardson, and interesting, I think Kayla White also trains with Sha'Carri Richardson. They're all from Star Athletics, right? Sha'Carri Richardson, no, second. I actually did like her execution, interestingly, over what I saw from Kayla White, right? I thought Sha'Carri did just enough to qualify, and especially thinking about the bad season that she's been having, right? We haven't really seen her been, running, and the few times that we've seen her run hasn't been impressive to say the least. Running a season's best 11:07 first drawn, really, really bad start. If you know Sha'Carri Richardson, she's notorious for having a bad start, and this is why we need, races to make sure we sharpen up and tighten up these things, right? But I thought even coming off a bad, start, she managed to seamlessly, effortlessly move through the field. And I loved that about everything that she did. And I was like, okay, Sha'Carri. Now, don't get me wrong, Sha'Carri Richardson notoriously looks easy all the time. But I did think that this was what she needed to do. Don't try to kill yourself off in the first round just to qualify. She was settled in that second place and she was good. So great qualification from her, in my opinion. Kayla White, though, took the win, right? Let's jump on over into Heat 2 with Twanisha Terry. No, I said it right, Twanisha Terry. Okay, she also ran 10.89 seconds, right? I thought this was a better execution than Kayla White because Twanisha Terry looked as though, she had a bit more. She looked as though, she gave us a good 60, I would say, and then was like, okay, let me see what everybody else is doing. All right, I'm good. And then she shut it down. You know what I mean? So she looks like she has a bit more to give. And Aaliyah Hobbs, I liked her execution as well. Looked like she just did enough as well. 10.94 for a second. And Gabby Thomas was third. Now, Gabby Thomas is also somebody that is notorious for her bad starts. But it's not just a bad start. I just think Gabby Thomas has an awful dry phase because in this race, I did think she got a good start, meaning that she got up with everybody else, in my opinion. But the dry face is non-existent. She not have no dry face to speak of. So, by the time, Terry them done drive, the gap, Gabby, and Gabby has to literally be trying to come back, to the field. So that's pretty much what happened. But I still thought it was a competent enough run, 11:02. No, Gabby always looked like she run hard. So it is what it is, right? But, good run. I thought, for the most part, these athletes did what they were supposed to do, right? No. This one track is Melissa Jefferson, Heat 3. Heat 3. I was like, dang! If y'all know that movie, is it Friday? Listen, that was literally my thought process. I'm literally jotting down notes heat by heat for every, race. And for Melissa Jefferson, all I could say was, for her heat at least, all I could say was, dang! Because track is, it was reminiscent, in my opinion, of Tokyo 2021. The kind of ease and effortlessness of running fast, right? 10.86 seconds in a negative. The only race that had a negative win, might I add. Holy by them positive 1.3, positive, even above the allowable, right? But when it came to Melissa Jefferson, her race was a negative 1.5 meters per second, and the girl dropped. Look here, 10.86 a cruise. Me said, dear God, I had flashbacks. Elaine Thompson Hera, Shelly and Fraser Price, Tokyo 2021. Oh my gosh. Amazing, amazing races. And I know some of y'all may say, she's running too fast too soon. Y'all need to stop it because when Jamaicans are running, fast, when they're doing in their best shape, as far as I'm concerned, throughout the season, I don't hear anybody coming out and say, oh, they won't be able to replicate at the championships. So what I see Melissa Jefferson doing now, listen, is impressive, and it's actually quite scary. And I had to actually go get my chest. And you know what I had to shove in this chest? My heart. So, though I'm very, very impressed by everything that I'm watching, I had to catch myself and remember that, okay, she's a rival. I'm enjoying this. But yeah, the heart over there. So, but no, fun and jokes aside, track is she looked really, 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 really amazing. And yeah, man, that 10-6 for sure is coming. Oh my God, it was so effortless. And this is what I talk about round management. She looked absolutely perfect, right? And I just can't wait to see when she gets to the semifinal. I know she's gonna take it up a notch, but I'm thinking you probably don't even need to take it up a notch because the field, it's probably not gonna be really close. I said in my preview video that she's gonna landslide the field. No joke, she's going to landslide the field. I had the opportunity of watching, a training video with the Star Athletics crew. I believe this was, a meeting. Was it before Prefontaine? I want to say this meeting was before Prefontaine. I don't even remember. Point is, track is she was dusting everybody, in this training video. And I was just looking and I was saying to myself, wow, she's definitely, that it girl for 2025 for Team America. And I'm loving it. Just get prepared for her demolition, coming into the finals in that women's 100 meters. It's coming, absolutely coming, no questions asked. Track is me never remember when nobody else doing the race, to who I was impressed, by Melissa Jefferson. So, oh yeah, no. Tamari Davis, one of the athletes that I was looking out for, was fourth, and she ran at 11.15. She looked like she was trying to do just enough, but some of the athletes beat her out, a Jada Mowat and an English Gardner. But you know what? I was thinking, Tamari Davis has this way of running sometimes where she looks like she's not in the conversation, but somehow she still make it go to finals and somehow she still plays high. You know what I mean? So even though she didn't give me the best run here, I still think that she's, still in the conversation. So let's see how she navigates, the semifinal, right? But moving on to the final heat, Jasia Shares took this one. 10.85. You know how Jasia Shears runs. I've always said this, and I've never held on my mouth and said it. I don't like how she runs because she's always, looking like she's force running, in my opinion. That doesn't mean she's not getting the performances. So really strong run, 10.85. I just would rather her have looked a bit more, easy, especially when I take into consideration that you still have semifinals to go and you still have finals to go potentially, right? So yeah, you can dial it back a bit, but that being said, still a strong run from her. Her start is crazy. She has a really, really good start, and yeah, she's able to hold on, to the line pretty much. So yeah, strong performance from her. Jenna Prandini impressed me actually. I didn't expect her to be up there in the conversation, and she ran a 10.94. Though I have to say that this race was run into a positive 3.2 meters per second wind. The only race that was above the allowable, right? But still, right? Really, really strong wind. Jenna Prandini coming in for second, and Navia Battle was third with her 11.02. Canberra Sturgis was fifth with a 11.05. I think all in all, trackies, when I think about what I saw outside of, a few positions that I probably expected to be a bit higher, who I expected to qualify, qualified. Let's see what they will do, in the semifinals / finals. But yeah, Melissa Jefferson, ooh la la, she's, another beast at this particular point. And yeah, I'm excited to see how it will go with her. But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Were you like me when you saw that race? Damn! Funny, as I watched the race, I immediately Googled, little snippet for the movie because I was like, I have to put that in my video. But anyway, trackies, sound off, like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.